What's up, boys? Welcome back to another video. Today I have a spicy TVZ meme for you guys. The last few weeks I've been really busy with DreamHack games, and I've prepared a lot of cool builds, some of which I didn't get to use. I tried some stuff out on ladder. So for you, I have a few builds that are kind of weird but cool at the same time, and I wanted to share them with you. This is a build that I was inspired by Cure and a bit by like every Terran, to be honest, but mostly by Cure, and then made into my own thing. Tried a few times on the ladder. Worked out pretty well. So here we are. Obviously, I'm going to try to upload the replay. Blah, blah, blah. You guys know the deal by now. Barracks first. Gas. This is just going to be a pretty standard opener. We're going to go up to the same usual 3cc build up that you guys probably all know by now. But we're going to go through it anyway. If you know how to open 3cc fast, then feel free to skip a few minutes until the action really begins. But we're gonna go through it for now. I always SCV scout, of course, I think, and just to be safe, you know. Actually, I don't really have any trouble with pull first anymore, but I think if I wouldn't SCV scout, I would probably lose to it a lot. So it's not just about, you know, knowing what to do against it, but also just having the SCV scout, because without SCV scout I just think stuff like pull first, no matter if it's all in or not, it's just really hard to play against. You know, you're gonna move out the Reaper and 4 links are gonna walk in, maybe it's even roaches or whatever. It's just really tough. So I would always recommend to just keep SCV scouting. I pretty much SCV scout every game. Even if I play a tournament against someone really good and I feel like I need to get like slight advantages where I can, I might skip it. Or maybe when I'm playing gas first, because gas first generally has less money. But yeah, honestly just SCV scout every game. CC on the low ground, of course. One thing I actually saw one of my students doing coaching session, and when it was pull first, or maybe even when it wasn't, they built a CC on the high ground. But building the CC on the high ground is actually just, it's just horrible. It's just too expensive. Like flying over, you think like Terran, it can fly, you know, the building can fly, but it still takes you like 15 seconds to get over there and you lose so much money. So please don't build your CC on the high ground unless you're actually getting like proper one base aligned. No hatchery at the natural kind of thing. So the important thing here for the 3cc build, obviously, is that you only have one gas. Do with the Reaper what you want. Just keep it alive, you know. Don't make it a YouTube Reaper like we usually do. So here the third command center goes down. And then after that, here comes the twist from usual 3cc builds. Instead of going for the starport, I'm going to go for... What's it going to be? Is it a barracks? Is it an eBay? Is it a command center? It's another factory, in fact. Because I have found out that Blue Flame Hellions are very strong units. And I've been abusing it a little bit, not gonna lie guys. I've been a bit of an abuser these days. Then second gas after the factory. Don't get it before. Like, as you can look at my money and see that it lines up very well. Second gas after the factory. I ignored a lot of the general buildings like depot, blah blah, because it's all the same. Just some things are very important. And they are that you basically get everything before your second gas. That's the most important part about this whole build. So you're gonna make Hellions. If you're worried about scouting, one thing you can actually do is make a second marine from this barracks. I think making the second marine here is pretty good. Now I just make a tech lab. It looks like I'm even forgetting to make the tech lab here. Loving the mistakes I always make here, guys. But that's why you guys love me as well. Make the tech lab when the factory is already finished. 5 head. But yeah, normally you can make the tech lab earlier, of course, but you can also make a marine. Now in this case it wouldn't have mattered because he played Overlord speed. But yeah, if people usually just fly in a slow Overlord on your MMR, feel free to just make the second marine. Might cost you a little bit of, like, one of your headings is going to be delayed or whatever, right? But it's no big deal compared to denying full scouting. Now, the reason I chose this replay is because he scouted it. And I actually have a pretty good adaptation for this. So our setup is 3 command centers, 2 factories, 1 barracks. Very simple. And I'm actually going to go into bio, by the way. I'm not a huge fan of playing mech without battle cruisers. Just because Swarm was already strong. So even though we're with Blue Flame, I'm actually going to open Blue Flame into bio. And why I think this build can be cool for you guys is because Blue Flame, honestly, is one of the easiest way to win a game. Because you can, if they don't scout it, you can run in 14 Blue Flame Hellions. They have a few Zerglings. You kill all their links and their drones and their soul, and you take their lunch money, and they're dead. And you get MMR, and it's nice. So this game, what I did to adapt is he scouted it, and as a reaction to this, making more links, obviously not a great idea. Making banelings, not a bad idea, but if you micro good with the Hellions, it's not good. So what do they usually do? They make a Roach Warren. So what I did as a counter this game, which I actually thought was pretty smart, is the bad thing about a Roach Warren. Oh, sorry, did I just go back? I just skipped like a full minute ahead or something like that. What did I just do? Okay, yeah, perfect, good click. So what I do against the Roach Warren is because they make a Roach Warren first of all, and then they take like 20-30 more seconds to make the roaches, right? Which means they have less links than usual. And I actually have more Hellions already because of that second factory. So because he scouted it, what I decided to do was just go in with 7 Hellions before Blue Flame to hit that timing where he would be making roaches. Now here I even hit it early, like he wasn't even making roaches yet, but he could have been if he made them right away. And you can see it's very awkward because does he decide to make roaches after my Hellions are already in, or does he spend more money on links? In this case he decides to go for links, and like this you can just hit a really awkward timing. Just to be sure, guys, I'm also going to attach a replay. I'm going to have to find that one first. I'm also going to attach a replay of where I just played a Blue Flame timing attack. But normally what it looks like is you just save your Hellions until you have Blue Flame done. And then you just go in. And usually this is going to be like 12 to 14 Hellions, I believe. And you will just go in, ignore the Queens, attack the Zerglings, go for the drones. Queens do a lot of damage. Obviously you would rather attack where the Queens are not. But your focus is really to kill the links right away and then go for the drones. And that's basically what I did here too. I don't know how many I killed. 9 drones. And a lot of Zerglings too. And this is already a fantastic situation. You can see the trade is not that good. But don't forget, I opened with a 3cc, guys. So basically what this build does is it gives you a good economy and so much option to harass. It could be a little bit greedy. So what you can do, if you're afraid of getting pushed early, instead of making a Hellion from this factory, you can actually make a quick tank as well. This is what I used to do to hold all-ins with this. And the reason I'm making tanks now is because of that adaptation I told you guys. He scouted what I was going to do. So instead of massing Hellions, I went with 7 Hellions before the roaches were out and made a tank to defend the potential counterattack. So then after, the transition is pretty simple. You don't have to do anything crazy. You add 2 barracks and a starport. With my version, I actually don't do any crazy add-on switching at all, because I imagine it can be quite complicated. Like, what do I do with this reactor or this tech lab? But I actually don't do any crazy add-on switching at all. I just make my barracks, and I put reactors on them. I make them itself. I make the reactor on the starport. So, even though this build can be difficult early on, when it comes to the mid-game transition, it's actually very simple. Like, you don't have to do any crazy lifting at all. You just get your 2 extra barracks, starport, into the double eBay. As I always say, guys, download the replay if you want to follow the build completely step by step, because I know it could be difficult. But in the bigger lines, this build is really not super complicated. And if you're not playing against roaches, by the way, guys, your Hellions will just always keep going. You can make more and more Hellions and just click them in. You can even make a medevac later on to drop some Blue Flame Hellbats in the late game. There's so many things you can do. Another follow-up you can do to this build, by the way, guys, is the Cure Mine Drop style, where after you have your money, you made Hellions and stuff, you can add an armory here. Once again, diving with the Hellions, by the way, this is what I do. But you can make an armory and then start drilling claws and start dropping mines. You already have 2 factories, so you get so many mines. It's also a really good follow-up. But this safe approach I did, nothing crazy, is purely against a Zerg that scouted what I did. But there are so many follow-ups you can do. If you copy this build, in the end, make sure to try out all the different versions. Like, do what you like. Maybe you really like mine drops. I think that's really good as well. That's the version I used against Raynor to good success. And yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. You can even do Blue Flame Hellion drops in the main, Hellbat here. So much things you can try, guys. Please try it out. Be creative, guys. Don't let my silly YouTube video limit you to doing this exact thing. That's the fun thing about StarCraft 2, isn't it, guys? You can try a lot of fun stuff and usually win with it as well because, you know... the thing is, if you do something weird in StarCraft, even if it's suboptimal, your opponent will not actually know what's up and he might play a bit worse. So a lot of the times, doing something bad may even, you know, work out well for you. Do whatever you want, guys. Go wild, okay? Just make sure you open with Blue Flame Hellions. So now I'm just making tanks. Now you could say, why are you still making Hellions? Because he's doing a roach attack. The thing is, I feel pretty safe because I'm making tanks all this time. You can see it's 7:45 and I already have 4 tanks out, which is a lot. And I thought Hellions could always be for, you know, do some good counter damage. Once again, I'm insanely supply blocked this game. I forgot my combat shields. Just on purpose, guys, for you, of course. Like I always say, guys, you know the term hashtag relatable content on this stream. Supply blocks here and there for getting upgrades here and there. It's just art, you know, and still beating pros. Fantastic. Ideally, you don't get supply block though, obviously. But yeah, here, when you have Blue Flame, the Hellion Surge is such a fantastic tool to deal damage. And beyond that, guys, it's a completely standard game, like I said. I go up to 5 barracks. I get my double upgrades, my 2-2. Now, at this point, you can actually kind of decide how you want to approach the macro game. A lot of people like the 3-factor style with the tanks. I still like to do the brick a lot of times, so in my case, I'm going to go up to 8 barracks. I don't have the 6 gas yet. I'm probably getting it later because I have a lot of SCVs. 69 SCVs, perfect. But at this point, it just becomes how you want to play the macro game, you know. Do you want to camp and get into Ghost? Do you want to do the brick and just get in there and attack? That's up to you. I think it's really nice to follow this up with the brick and attack. There we go. I really like my bunkers against the roach bust as well. Obviously more than enough tanks to defend this, right, guys? And if you play against roaches, just a quick tip as well. I would really recommend to not push right away after you hold the attack, because Zerg can make so many roaches. Even if you kill a bunch of stuff, they can still overwhelm you. Instead, what I would recommend is just that you wait either until you're 2-2, until you have 2-2, or until you're maxed, because then you really create an unstoppable army for a Zerg player playing roaches. Now, this is what I was talking about, by the way. Blue Flame Hellbat drops. Very potent attack. Another thing you can do, I'm going to try to post a replay of that as well, because I remember. You kind of have to imagine a scenario, because we're kind of deep into this game, right? But if you do the Blue Flame attack, what I like to do if you play against, like, just imagine someone plays Zerglings, you kill 15 drones, whatever. After, you can do like the regular 1-1 tank push. You guys all know what it looks like, right? Your stim is finished, you have your first 2 medevacs, you have 2 tanks, so you do your 1-1 tank push. With this build, you can do the exact same push, but you're actually going to have some Blue Flame Hellbats with the push as well. I feel like a 1-1 push after this opener is typically very strong. Now, obviously, you can't do this against roaches. Against roaches, you have to stay passive for a pretty long time. But against just circling or baneling play, it's actually pretty sick. Look at the damage on those Hellbats. Oh, that's beautiful. Like, it looks so stupid. It's like 200 mineral units inside, but the drones still have to run away before they get owned. I remember this. I got lucky here. He biled, like, expecting my medevacs to move. But I didn't pay attention. I just stopped on accident. Feels bad, man. Hashtag winning on accident. And then, like I said, 2-2 is approaching. Max supply is approaching. And then I'm going to start doing the push. This is how I would want you guys to play against roaches. Just get a mass army. If you attack with smaller armies, like I said, it's very easy to get overwhelmed by just... you know, more and more roaches. Like, it's very easy for Zerg to max out on roaches. And it goes very fast. You don't really need to keep Hellbats with your army because they die to Banelings anyway. So that's why I just sacrifice them with the drops. Even if you have, like... Even if they die fast, I think it's still a good idea to drop. It takes some APM from the Zerg, you know, and makes the game a little bit harder for them. And like I said, it's just 100 mineral each. Losing the medevac, you know, that's what would hurt a little bit. Now, when I do the brick style, I always follow the command center, so you guys would know that if you watch the video, of course, on the brick, how to destroy Zergs consistently. I always follow with more and more CCs. I don't really want to get stuck in this all in and get your 3-3 up. Here he had a lot of units and it looks like he's owning me. But you have to remember that his entire army is gas and I just had mass marines. So if you look at the supply, this actually still looks fine. And now my flanking army is coming in. And this looks like it should be game, I think. Maybe. Is that a caster curse? Who knows? Well, one thing that I would recommend you guys to do a bit better than me here is, well, I'm pausing a lot again. I'm sorry, guys. I need to get back in my rhythm, okay. Is that I would recommend you, here I go, to actually keep making some more SCVs. I feel like you never really want to get stuck in this sub 70 SCV count unless you're actually doing a full-on all-in. I feel like when you have your fourth base, you actually want to be able to saturate it. Else, like, I don't know, I typically still feel very poor, very light on money if I don't have, like, the 75, 80 SCV count. Taking my fourth base, of course. Here, I do have some SCVs left. Now, against roaches, or roach-based composition like this Roach Ravager, you never really want to push too hard, you just want to slowly inch forward with your tanks. Because bios can just snipe tanks one by one, and it snowballs pretty fast. Like if you have 5 tanks and you already lost two tanks to some bios, you could instantly lose the fight. So always siege forward very slow, like this. Keep on the high ground if you can. Like this is the right way to do it. The bio is pretty free, okay? The bio can go forward, but make sure to have like the backline of your tanks like this, because it's actually pretty easy to underestimate roach composition. You probably had it before. You're like, oh wait, against roaches? According to Reddit, I'm just supposed to win because I have stim bio. But a lot of times, you still kind of get owned. So make sure to be careful with those tanks in the back. Like this is a really good setup. Bio is forward. Tanks are all in the back. As you can see, massive damage now from the tanks on the Link Bane. And even on the Ravagers too. So yeah, this build's pretty wild, guys. Blue Flame into bio, but I've actually used it to great effect. I think I've won pretty much all my games that I did this version on. I lost a few games with the Cure version, which is like Starport and then Factory. And then like Viking to deny scouting. Hellion drops a lot faster kind of thing. I did lose some games with that, but with this version I actually don't think I've lost any games yet. Obviously I haven't used it against the Kings, Rainer and Cyril. But anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I really hope I remembered to link all the replays I promised. But thank you guys very much for watching. And don't forget to sub and like. See you guys next time. Adios.